fire, damn it. Russell Westbrook to the Lakers. Do it again. Again. Every time. Russell Westbrook to the Hornets rumors again. Is it going to happen? We're recycling these storylines. Plus, the Hornets blow the Magic out of the water. We talk about it today. Sport on Locked On Hornets podcast.
You are Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
In a minute, we live.
So here's how we're going to start off today. Doug is going to give me a certain number to count down to. Okay. I want everybody to understand what just took place. Doug, my producer, is telling me I'm going to count down to 3. You count down to Mississippi, and then you start. So then Doug counts down to 3. David, you can be my witness to this as well. Doug counts down to 3. I count to 2 Mississippi. I start going into the intro. And as soon as I start, Doug says, wait, hold on, stop. And then so I stop. And then he says, okay, go. And then I go. And then I mess up. And then I say stop. But no, we can't do it when I want to stop. So Doug, thank you once again for making me look like the fool here. This is how we do things on this podcast.
Welcome into Locked On Hornets, by the way. We're live on YouTube right now.
Yeah, you do the intro. You do it.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on Twitter at Locked On Hornets. We've got a great show ahead. We're going to talk about Russell Westbrook, rumors possibly to Charlotte. I don't know why these rumors are happening now. We'll talk about that. The Hornets beat the Magic down. We'll talk about that. We've got David Walker on the show. Got a huge show. Okay, now we got all that out of the way. Let's talk about what happened in the intro, okay?
Please.
So we're dealing with a lot of new technology, number one. Dealing with a lot of new technology. Sometimes that technology goes wrong. You got to be able to roll with the punches, especially when you are live broadcasting. But here's the thing. When you are live broadcasting, once you do actually go live, you are live. There's no stopping.
That's the key.
There's no stopping the train.
But here's my problem. I didn't know we were live. I know that you stopped it
Always
at
assume.
First. You stopped
always
me,
assume the mic is hot. Have you
stop?
Gosh, you're a professional. You are, in fact, you're live radio. That's what trips me out.
But he's got his podcast hat on now. I get it. I mean, it was a bit of a pump fake. It's a bit of a pump fake.
Not even wearing a hat. It's the only one on the show not wearing a hat right now. I don't understand.
That is his
fault. You didn't get the memo.
My producer told me to stop, and so I did.
I did not say stop. Hold on. I did not say stop.
You did
I said
say hold on.
I think you said hold on.
I said
actually.
hold. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. I said hold.
Okay.
Because
you didn't say on though.
I said hold because I hit start stream and it I expected it to just start and it just froze there for a second. So I just said hold and then I said go and you said and you did, then you went into your thing and then you stopped and it was a whole thing.
Okay, that's fine. We're off to a great start. Thank you for the intro though, Doug. You did a great job at that. And you did a great job at producing already. It's a phenomenal show. We have David Walker joining us, as Doug already demonstrated. And you are fresh off a trip from New Orleans. It's the second time in a row that we've had somebody down in New Orleans for the Final Four. And you're also going to Disney World tomorrow. Is that right?
That's correct. I'm in no way fresh off of New Orleans. That takes a good month to recover.
Is anybody
from that.
really? You're
right. Exactly. No, but yeah, quick turnaround for your boy over here. I got to head back on the road, loading up the family truckster tomorrow morning to head out for Disney World. Happiest place on earth, I hear. I'm gonna put that to the test. We'll see. I'll report back. Don't worry.
Just watch out for Robin Lopez down there because he's looking for a fight.
Feisty.
He'll be looking to instigate some things. It's exactly what James Borrego said afterwards when he was discussing how the refs explained that whole skirmish confrontation.
They had the notepad out for that. I've never seen that.
Yeah, there was a lot. There's a lot that was going on with what took place last night between the Magic and the Hornets in a couple of ejections that took place. Montrezl Harrell was ejected. So was Robin Lopez.
You're ejected. You get an ejection. You get an ejection. You get an ejection. You get an ejection.
And Admiral Schofield. All three of those guys were ejected. The good news is Trez only got one technical that resulted in an ejection. If he would have gotten two, then I believe he had 14 coming into tonight. And so that might have been, I think that was the conversation. Or coming into last night, I think that was the conversation in the media room before people started to, before James Borrego spoke. So I think 16 is the limit that you can hit before you get suspended, or 15
I want to sit him for the next two.
Yeah, it would have been tough, although, they didn't play him against Miami. This one he does play. Trez has a good game. Let's get to the first segment we were supposed to before things got off the rails. Russell Westbrook, rumors are surfacing once again. This is reported by Mark Stein, who, is pretty legitimate in the NBA reporting game. Here's what he writes, quote, All-star guard LaMelo Ball is firmly ensconced, a new word that I don't know if we've ever said here on the podcast.
Can you be any other kind of ensconced than firmly ensconced?
It's firmly ensconced. That's what Mark Stein is reporting. I will read it again.
That's a very Steiny word.
It is.
Ensconced.
It's the Stein line, baby. LaMelo
Journalist
firmly
word.
Ensconced as the Hornets face of the franchise and the on-the-ball star. Some weird wording from Mark Stein. But one scenario making the rounds is a belief that the Hornets could emerge with Westbrook interest in the name of creating some financial flexibility. So you read Russell Westbrook rumors to the Charlotte Hornets, and you're thinking, same old MJ, same old Charlotte. This is awful. We don't want to touch Russell Westbrook with a 10-foot pole because of how different he is as a basketball player compared to years past. The dude's been on a million different teams since his time with the Oklahoma City Thunder. There's no way we should want him. But I think that last line is what you should be paying attention to the most, creating some cap flexibility. The conversation we just had yesterday was, how do you trade Gordon Hayward, who is, again, sitting out of this game against the Orlando Magic after he sat out against the Miami Heat, kind of a late scratch. Gordon Hayward is set to make $30 million a year for the next 2 seasons. Russell Westbrook has 1 more year left after this season. Player option. He's going to opt in. He's going to make $47 million, which is hilarious, but he's only going to do that for 1 more year, and then you're free. I do not think this is absolutely hellacious, crazy. It is not the same as when there have been rumors in the past for the Hornets' interest in Russell Westbrook. David, let's go to you. What do you think about Mark Stein's report?
Yeah, I think that key note that was included in this is just different from years past. Walker, to your point, like the note that, hey, this is for financial gain. Really, it's not to add a piece. It's not to build around anybody. It's not to make a playoff push per se. So obviously that's important, because that's the only way you could look at this and be like, okay, let's try and talk ourselves into how this makes sense. I mean, if you wanted to look at the on-court play, oh God, I mean, it's been such a disaster in LA. There's nobody right now that's saying we need to add that piece to our team, right? Now, Westbrook was really good for the Wizards. The Hornets saw him up close at the end of last season. There is an element where, like, this team still needs someone who is a grown-up or has experience that can kind of lead them in the locker room. I don't know if that is necessarily Russell Westbrook, who you're looking to bring in and provide that. So it's got to be the financial gain. They've got to be looking to kind of move on from some of these longer term contracts that they have. So from that standpoint, it makes sense. The rest of it, though, just makes it tricky, right? Like, how long is he in that locker room? How long is he here? And I don't think, like, Russ is, an anchor or someone that's going to plummet the team to the bottom or anything just by being around. But you're starting to build something here. You're handing the keys, obviously, to LaMelo Ball. I think that's what Steiny was trying to say there, right? With that on-ball star comment or whatever.
On-the-ball star, right?
You don't need anyone else like a Russell Westbrook coming in and taking the ball out of LaMelo's hands. So I think it's smart, and I think it's good that they're exploring, right? That's an option, but it's not something where they're looking to add a piece.
Yeah, I feel like I've time traveled. I feel like these rumors have been around.
What if they end up with Hayward and Westbrook? I mean,
so that's my thing, right? Hayward's
ago.
got to go. Hayward's got to go in that kind of deal. You can't.
Which, by the
be
way,
on the hook.
Which, by the way, it kind of has to be him or Terry in order to match the money. So.
Right, Terry did mention him. Yeah,
and it needs. So what I'm saying is, it needs to be Gordon. It doesn't need to be Terry. That would be too many people who need the ball. I don't know how Terry and Russell Westbrook coexist on a team. Terry, or I don't know how that you make all of that work together unless one of them plays off the bench, and that's the interesting thing too. Like, how do you figure that out? Does can Russell come off the bench, even though he's in the last year of his deal? Like, there's so many kind of interesting things to think about with all of this. But the real point is, like, they're 10th in the East, right? So what's the harm? Like, this would be a different conversation if they were like 5th in the East, and you're like, oh man, what happens if they bring him in? Do they go back to
Gonna
sort
wreck
of,
it.
Yeah, there's nothing to wreck. They're still trying to figure out what all of this means.
So here's my end of the road take on this. Even if I don't think it's absolutely crazy, like I did think about it last year or in years past, where you have a few more years left on this deal when there's been rumored interest in him before, it was more so because the thought process was Russell Westbrook was going to help you win and you wanted his on the court services. Here, you're just kind of trying to create some cap flexibility, and maybe you view him as some kind of positive being on this team on the court. But David, it goes back to what you said. I don't want Russell Westbrook on the floor at the same time as LaMelo Ball. I don't think they're a good fit. I think defensively, it's not a good fit. Russell Westbrook isn't out here, playing good defense, which you would like to have alongside a LaMelo. You also don't have a good shooter with Russell Westbrook, which Terry Rozier is. So Russell doesn't help that way. We know that Russell wants to get his shots up. It's exactly why it's not gone well with the Lakers. I don't want Russell getting up shots with the Charlotte Hornets. And so at the end of the day, you said he played well with Washington, and that's true. We had such a flip from the first half to the second half of that season with the Wizards. The first half, Russell was pretty god-awful. The second half, he has this resurgence. The Wizards are winning a million games. He and Bradley Beal have that team get into the play-in tournament. So here the Hornets are already in the play-in tournament without Russell. You have Bradley Beal on that squad too. The best they could do is play in. You have James Borrego entering a hot seat year where now's the time to win, and Russell Westbrook doesn't help you win. So at the end of the day, I think it's fine to try to create some cap flexibility, but there's no reason to go after Russell Westbrook in this point at the end of it. Let's try to trade Gordon Hayward for something else.
Well, listen, if you are not in love with James Borrego as the head coach of the Charlotte Hornets, which we know many people who watch this on YouTube are not in love with that idea, then you should hail the move for Russell Westbrook because he's about to get Frank Vogel fired.
That's right. That's right. So if you're James Borrego
and Pelinka,
or if you're Mitch Kupchak, like, you can't punt on winning as much again. Like,
well, so that's
win.
my whole thing. That's why I would not be excited about this deal.
Correct.
Even if it moved the Hornets off of the Hayward contract, even if it were financially better for the team in the long term.
I agree.
To acquire Russell Westbrook, I would not be excited because it would essentially be admitting that next year we're just going to be middling.
We're not doing everything we can to put a winning product on the floor. That's what it would be.
And the clock is ticking on the LaMelo Ball era. And I think, too, there's a real question about, like, that relationship, Russell and LaMelo.
100%.
And does that set LaMelo's game back in some way? When you bring someone in that has to be – I mean, this guy has led the league in usage percentage essentially his entire career and can't shoot three-pointers.
So that would be, Russillo and Jackie McMullen talked about Russell a little bit on their podcast last week or so, and talked about when Chris Paul went to Oklahoma City, right? They kind of sat him down and was like, hey, this is the situation. We need you to come in, shepherd these young guys, put SGA under your wing a little bit, and we'll get you somewhere good, right? That's the promise. Like, and then in talking about Russell in that vein, like, do you see him being able to take that conversation? Do you see Mitch being able to say, hey, you're going to be with the second unit. You're going to show these guys how to play, how to get into the playoffs, and then we'll get you somewhere good. Like, I don't know how he reacts to that, to your point. Like, he still wants to play. He still wants the ball. I can't, it's almost too much to imagine a team with the personalities of LaMelo, Montrez, Terry, Russell Westbrook. I mean, it would certainly be the most combustible, I guess, the toughest team they've ever had, but God knows what would happen, from a day-to-day basis. I mean, the practices would probably be super competitive, but yeah, it just feels like too many landmines to just say, hey, okay, we're freeing up some money. I mean, aren't they kind of freeing up money, like, eventually anyway? I mean, is it worth trying to, do a Hail Mary for whatever this is?
Can Russell Westbrook play center? Let me just throw this question out there.
Doug, I don't know if you knew. He did average a triple-double 1 year, Doug. I don't know if you knew that.
Can he play center?
Does he steal? Does he take some of those LaMelo easy rebounds, though? I think that would be the first point of contention, right?
I like a point guard stealing match at the rebound, at just trying to rebound all they can. That's a great point. I would love to see both of those guys do that. Go ahead,
Can I
Doug,
read
yeah.
some comments before we go? Take a pause. Okay, so Sebastian on the YouTube chat says Hornets shouldn't trade for Westbrook. Makes no sense. They should trade for Mo Bamba. Joseph says
Let's do it.
center. Let's see. We've
Did he have a
got
lot of
Joseph
Rs at the
saying
end?
need a center. Let's see. Danny on the chat says even as a salary dump move, wouldn't this set us back in the short term? Can't imagine they'd have the ability to bring back Cody Martin and address the center issue with that much cap space tied
I
up.
guess. Well, that's the thing, guys. I mean, you're talking about this, and I don't think it's I don't think it's crazy. Like there are some positives to it. And to Doug's point, you're in 10th place. The Hornets are the 10th place team in the East. Okay. Stop me if you've heard this before. Like I don't think it's cratering them. I don't think adding them is it maybe stunting their growth? Is it maybe inhibiting them to make another move where they could add a centerpiece? I still think they have to do that. Like regardless, they still got to go out and do some changes. So I don't think they're going to hamstring themselves with that move. It's just one thing they're trying to figure out.
Well, and the other thing is we haven't really talked about this from the Lakers' beneficial standpoint. Like, are they they want to get better,
Well,
and I know
right.
they want to get off of Russell's contract, but it is only a year. That would be beneficial for them too to kind of get off of it in just 1 year. They don't want to attach any picks. So would you have to attach Terry with it as well?
Kind of feels like it, right?
Yeah. And if Terry and Gordon, you get off of Terry's contract, you get off of Gordon's contract, a lot of people don't even like that phrasing surrounding Terry's deal. Like, what do you mean get off of it? I like that deal, right? Like, so if the Lakers are wanting to bring in both of those players to try to get better, you shake up the foundation around LeBron, you keep Anthony Davis, and then all of a sudden maybe you think you can be a contender again. Is that what it's going to take? And are the Hornets willing to do that? Are Hornets fans willing to get rid of Terry? And look, I have my problems with Terry's contract. I still don't want to do this Russell Westbrook deal.
I mean, can Mitch really figure out a way to get LeBron in this deal? I think is what it comes down to.
I think
discuss it in the next segment. All right.
I think he's got a shot.
All right, let's do that. All right, let's talk about Bet Online first. It's your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. You can find all the latest sports developments, including this week's Masters Championship odds, podcasts, reviews for all the different leagues this season. You can head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and the action. Bet Online, it's where the game starts. Let's talk about that Hornets win over the Orlando Magic. LaMelo Ball, he was the person showing the magic last night. We'll talk about that coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
This is Locked On Hornets.
To start this off, we all know about LeBron and how he built a school and it got a lot of fanfare. By the time 2019 closes, Bismack Biyombo is planning to have 6 schools.
Take that, LeBron.
It's time for more of the Locked On Hornets podcast.
The Hornets destroy Orlando last night, 128-101. LaMelo was awesome in this game. 26 points for him, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 steals, only 3 turnovers in 35 minutes play. That's a hell of a stat line. Hit 4 of his 10 3-pointers that he took. Had the awesome steal from Robin Lopez and the transition off the backboard between the leg alley-oop to Montrez, which was one of the better plays that we've seen from him and the Hornets this season. Just an awesome win for the Hornets, an expected one. You needed to get it done. We would have destroyed them had they lost by any amount of points, but it's nice to see them take care of business in a huge way, separate themselves in the second quarter. On to Chicago tonight, which is going to be the biggest test, and it was always going to be that when you had 3 games left on the season.
Yeah, is that LaMelo's signature move now? Like, it's impossible. It's crazy to think that between the legs off the backboard pass is a signature move, but that's where we are. Yeah, I mean, guys, I don't know, not a lot to impress upon me with this game. They won. They absolutely should have won. Show me something tonight, because that's been the big pitfall for this team, and it's been the annoyance really when you have a team that just doesn't show up on occasion. They have kind of lost this game in the past, but not against the B team here, what we had in Orlando. God bless them. Robin Lopez wanted no part of waiting to leave the building in this game, and the rest of the Orlando Magic were out there just showing good tape, right? So good on the Hornets. Glad LaMelo, those 10 threes, that feels like a thing. Like, that feels like a thing going into next year. He's going to shoot a ton of threes, looking to up that points per game.
He's been doing it a ton lately. He's been just hoisting them.
Yeah. So yeah,
yeah,
Doug,
I'm
anything to take home for
no,
this game?
no. I mean, they messed around in the first quarter, and luckily
That's
they
what they
decided
do,
to. Because look,
baby.
they've lost to the Magic
That's
this
their
year.
charm.
That's what they do. They've lost to the Magic though this year. Luckily, Franz Wagner, Hans, and they only had Hans. They didn't have Franz in this game. Franz is the one that beat them down the last time. But yeah, I mean, this was a G League team. I mean, they had players out, like Gary Harris was out, Terrence Ross was out.
Cole.
They're missing what's that? And
Cole
Franz was
Anthony.
out.
Mo Bamba
Cole Anthony was
got hurt.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so then they had Mo Bamba hurt at the beginning of the game. He only plays 4 minutes. So I mean, you're dealing with guys like R.J. Hampton, Admiral Schofield, Ignis Braz something or other, David Canna Beans. I don't know. Like, I mean, these names are crazy. Like, this is a G League team. And then Robin Lopez coming from the top rope. He wanted to fight somebody. I just think he wanted to leave the game. He couldn't bear to be a part of this basketball game anymore.
Oh, he was smiling as he was leaving the court. He was giving the crowd a wave, which Robin Lopez, that's so like him. But yeah, I want to look at the film of that ejection too, because that was all instigated from Robin Lopez. And so it's a foul from Jalen McDaniels. Robin Lopez, so I think it's him and RJ Hampton, McDaniels and RJ Hampton. Then, those two kind of get into it, but it wasn't going to result in anything. PJ Washington comes in and he's trying to play the separator. Boom! Robin Lopez comes in, gets a little too physical. And then, so my favorite part of all of that is Robin Lopez does that, right? Then Montrez, if somebody's fighting, it's damn sure going to be me. I'm going to be in the mix. And so that's all he needs. He gets in, he goes up to Robin Lopez, and all of his attention is focused towards Robin. And then Admiral Schofield comes in behind him, touches him, right? And then all of his attention goes to Admiral Schofield and Robin Lopez. He would recognize that guy the next second. Oh, like boom, Admiral is the next target, and then all hell breaks loose. Kelly Oubre kind of gets into it. He's kind of going back and forth, I think, with RJ smiling. So that was like, it wasn't nothing. Usually these things don't result in anything really. And so we're talking about, it was nothing. Like it wasn't a fight. Nobody threw any hooks or haymakers, but it was more than something. I don't know what word you want to use to describe.
Yeah, it started to bubble up a little more than you might be comfortable with, especially around DeBaby's seats. I mean, he's right there in the corner. I think they really got to be careful over there, protect the baby at all costs. But yeah, I mean, Montrez was ready to go, and who pulled him out of there? Who walked him out? Who calmed him down?
It's LaMelo.
It was the young fella. I mean,
it was the baby.
Is this what we've been wanting? Is this what we've been waiting to see? Kind of the passing of the torch, the leadership, the maturity of the young guy. I mean, we may look back on this and say, that was the point of LaMelo's real ascendance to leadership on this team. Could be.
Wow, that was the game that he became president.
That's right.
Love it.
Yeah, I was excited. I mean, look, we don't talk enough about LaMelo somehow. We talk about him every show. But he's just been incredible. I mean, yeah, the leadership thing, that's cool, but just on the court. I mean, these moves that he's pulling off, he almost had what I thought what would have been the biggest, maybe, God, there's so many to choose from, but it would have been at least top 3 highlight against Miami when he had this just crazy physics-breaking pass, as he's driving through the lane into the corner to Cody Martin.
It looked like Magic would have done.
Yeah, it was totally Showtime, and then Cody Martin boinked the 3, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So we'll never remember it again.
He'll probably get cut for that.
Yeah, but he's been so incredible. He's getting better offensively. I think he needs an offseason to get better defensively, but I think he's going to get there. I'm super excited, and just going back to our first segment, it's why I don't want the Hornets to waste time with this sort of cap maneuvering nonsense trying to make up for past mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm just ready to be done with that.
Yeah. Russell Westbrook doesn't make look, we can give all the credit in the world to, hey, it's not like they love Russell Westbrook and want him to be a part of the future. We can give credit to that, and at the same time still disagree with it. It's still not the move they should be making, because
let's be honest. Like, Russell Westbrook is going to get traded for John Wall again. He's going to get traded for. They're just going to swap places over and over for eternity.
That's right.
They'll be retired and still get traded for each other somehow. Like, that's how it's going to be.
But we didn't talk about Mitch at all, guys. Like, this would be a bit out of character for the Hornets version of Mitch, I think, to pull the trigger on that Westbrook trade. It just doesn't feel like he's going to rock the boat that much. And he's just in such a great job. I feel like I bring up Mitch on every show, but even if you look back to the Kemba deal, like people killed that at the time. It's obviously paid off. And he's building this team in a certain direction. But yeah, that would not be something that I think you would want to do either.
Yeah, and it's funny because I feel like Mitch Kupchak is often brought up in these rumors because I think he probably calls everybody, gets out, and it's not necessarily like there's any real traction. We've seen this a couple of times where, the Hornets are interested, and then nothing ever materializes into an actual move.
Marc Gasol, right? And Mitch was like, I don't know how close that was to happening. I thought it was like 45 minutes from happening. Yeah.
He did not feel that way. And so
I don't know if you know this, but Mitch Kupchak used to be the general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers.
It is true.
God, the ties. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I do think Mitch feels like there may be a move, depending on who that player might be, a move away, an addition away from really taking a step forward. So Russell Westbrook
not this edition.
No, but Russell Westbrook is still a talent. I mean, still a name, still a top 75 player, guys. I mean, come on. He's still a top 75 talent. Kyrie can't say that. You know what I mean? So look.
Okay. Kyrie shots. Didn't expect to hear that. Do you want to read some comments, Doug, before we head to the last segment today?
Oh, okay. Book's best friend on
I really
YouTube.
Got you on that top 75 talent comment, didn't I?
That was funny. I just remember there was a time several years ago when there were some discussions about, should the Hornets trade for Kyrie when he was making a mess of his situation in Boston. And there were people that were like legitimately saying, no, the Hornets don't need that headache. And I was like, that's crazy. It's Kyrie Irving. He's one of the best basketball players on the planet. Anyhow, Book's best friend on YouTube says, looking back to Melo's rookie year, the media went ballistic when he walked away from a fight on the court. This could be Melo showing this is my team now, and I'll be taking charge.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember.
I'm sure it happened, though.
I don't recall that
this
either.
Game.
Hold on.
Mark it down, guys. I'm saying.
I don't want to speculate.
Magic.
Okay. We're good now. A lot of people saying center. We got Danny on the chat saying, Hayward for Miles Turner, not too far-fetched.
Oh, my
Talked
God,
about
the
that
Miles
yesterday.
Turner.
I think
know.
You're right.
I'm
He's
sorry
back,
for bringing
baby.
it up, but yeah, I have to. Like, it's the thing I would do. I would do it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And again, that's the whole thing. Like, everybody in Charlotte, every fan of the Charlotte Hornets, every fan of LaMelo even knows. He said it in his Slam article. Everyone knows what the Hornets need. And if the Hornets make one more move that doesn't address that, people are going to go nuts.
I can't wait for them to draft 2 second-round centers in this next NBA draft to see maybe if those could be the guys of the future, and then everybody's going to lose their mind. All right, let's get to the last segment. We've already gone way over time here. This is the time of year a lot of people have given up on New Year's resolutions. Don't do that anymore. Try to stick with it, especially if it means staying fit. And if that is the thing you want to do this year, then go to Built.com. Get you a box of Built Bars. They're fantastic. The OG flavors are phenomenal, but also the limited time flavors are great. The puffs are really good. They're light. They're fluffy. They're marshmallowy. What is wrong with that? There's nothing. It's also healthy for you, too. You have low calories, high protein, low sugar, also high in fiber. Go to Built.com, and then you can scroll down, just like Doug does, to the macros chart, and you'll be blown away with all the high protein, all the good nutritional value that these things can provide. Go to Built.com. Use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Again, use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. We have one more segment to go on a HIVE Live Friday Locked On Hornets edition coming up next on the Locked On Podcast Network.
This is Locked On Hornets.
So if you don't believe in the moon landing, then what would you say is the greatest human achievement?
I think the greatest achievement of all time, and I think it's Vince Carter doing 360s clockwise rather
really
than
tough.
counterclockwise.
I've tried it. It's really tough.
It's time for more of the Locked On Hornets podcast.
I did like what the Hornets did last night for media availability. They brought out LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier, and they spoke to media together in this one.
Little double trouble.
Ooh,
Yeah,
a little,
pretty cool.
little March Madness style.
I had not seen that before. I've been to a ton of home games, but I have been to most of them the last couple of months and haven't seen that. And it was really cool for both of those guys to interact. What's funny is you kind of get a more genuine reaction from one player because of the other player's reaction to another player's answer, if that makes sense. So Terry Rozier, he's talking about, man, to be honest with you, we were in the same situation last year, saying it in disgust. LaMelo does, yeah, for real, we really were. Like, he was kind of in disgust about it too.
For real.
So you get facts, straight up. So you get to see both of these guys interact with one another. That was cool. Also, to hear them say, it's the NBA, ain't nobody fighting out there, when they were talking about all the ejections. Terry Rozier says, guys, it's WWE, ain't nobody fighting. And then as he's leaving, he says, unless it's me. All right, no, I'm playing. But yeah, Terry was fun. So that was pretty cool. And so it was pretty cool to hear both of those guys talk to the media last night. And Terry scoring 20 points, first time in, I believe, 8 games. So nice to see him get going again.
Phew! It's going to be key tonight against the Chicago Bulls. Again, second night of a back-to-back for the Charlotte Hornets. If you haven't been paying attention, the Hornets have been a poopy on the second night of a back-to-back. So
what have they been?
They've been a poopy.
I think he played for the Magic last night. I think that guy played for the Magic. A poopy?
A poopy, yeah. Chuma a poopy. No, so I think... I hope the Hornets can get this win, honestly, because I think the Chicago Bulls are reeling right now. It'd be an opportunity to beat the Bulls, something they've struggled to do. It would be an opportunity to get a win on a second night of a back-to-back, and really just love to see them finish this season strong heading into this play-in and give us some hope that they could possibly make it out of this play-in. There's too many scenarios. I'm going to be honest. These people on Twitter that tweet out all the different scenarios. Just wake me up when it's play-in time and tell me where the Hornets are.
Well,
I can't keep up with it all.
Walker,
help me.
Just to give an overview, we're not going to go into everything that could happen, but the Hornets are currently a game behind the Hawks and the Nets right now. The Nets play the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs currently reside in the 7th spot. You are pulling for Cleveland to win, though, because Hornets can't catch the Cavs. So pull for Cleveland tonight.
Hold on, I have a Cleveland hat. I can
go ahead and put that on real quick, and I'll go ahead and talk to the people while you do that. So you're pulling for Cleveland to beat Brooklyn, because there is a shot you could still get that 8 seed. Now, Brooklyn is also going to be playing Indiana at home. That's a sweet Cleveland hat. Cleveland is still going to be playing Brooklyn, Indiana. It's going to be in Brooklyn, so not necessarily a good one for the Charlotte Hornets. The Hawks, they have Miami tonight, and then the Hawks will play Houston. Not necessarily good news for the Hornets, but you do need Atlanta to lose to Miami, and then
Miami's already clinched, right? First place. So
is that right? Yeah, they're 2 games above.
Butler's not playing. He gets any opportunity Butler has not to play.
I can already tell you, none of this is going to work out for the Hornets. It never does. They rarely get any help. You're counting at this point. You're counting on what's left of the Pacers. And a Butlerless Heat team. Hero probably won't even play.
And Cleveland, who's torpedoing
right now. So thanks a lot, you jerks.
Yeah.
I really just want a home game. So I was hoping to kind of get to that 9th spot to hopefully get a home game.
That's what I was saying. People roasted me for that, for saying that fans. I'm not saying the Hornets. The Hornets will obviously love 2 chances to get into the playoffs, right? Like, obviously. But as a fan, it would be nice to see them host one of these postseason games. So, 9th seems to be better than 8th.
And that would have been a step forward. I mean, it would have been a step forward, and it would have been a little something for the fans. I think we've been great all year, right? In the Spectrum Center. So home game would have been, and hey, still could happen.
The thing is, though, and look, I don't want to sound like an idiot, so I'm going in bad waters. But
that's my job on this show.
Yeah, well, if you go to the 8, that's true. I won't fight you. If you go to the 8 seed, though, then you have another shot, and then you host that next home game.
You get a home game. But
what if you win? See, that's what I'm saying. If you win in that away game, then you're in the playoffs, and now all of a sudden,
then you get a home game.
Yeah, I guess my point is like you get 2 shots.
Yeah,
and
but you
you
get
get
an
a
guaranteed
extra home game if you're in the ninth spot.
I
That's
don't
what
get
I'm saying.
greedy. I just want a home game. I don't
Well,
care
that's-
when it happens.
That's my point though, right? So yeah, like it
Was
I-
Doug
let's-
arguing that it's better to be an 8 than 9th than an 8th? No,
Yes,
I'm not. I don't
he was
subscribe
saying
to that.
that
That's
as a fan.
horrible. That makes no sense. That is dumb.
Sorry, when everybody zigs, I zag. Okay.
That's what he was saying, and I was like, wait, all right, hold on though. Like we still should be
No.
fighting for the 8 seed to get that home game. Let's look at some underlying storylines real quickly in this game. Jalen McDaniels playing a lot better since that injury. He
Oh,
was
man.
rusty off of that injury, but now he's starting to play better. Borrego said he looks a lot more comfortable, the most comfortable he's been since that injury. So awesome stuff defensively, especially from Jalen last night.
Well, listen, and props to Jalen for sticking with it. His first ankle injury of his entire career, which is just like insane when you think about how much basketball these guys play, not just college and into the pros, but like AAU, like all of the stuff that they do to get ready to be a pro. First ankle injury ever. And we remember what that ankle injury, recovering from that, did to Terry Rozier, who's had ankle injuries before and has dealt with injuries before. And he struggled to get started at the beginning of this season because of that. So props to Jalen for sticking with it, not losing confidence. And props to James Borrego for sticking with Jalen and not like burying him and letting him, knowing that like, hey, if we have Jalen McDaniels, a player that can give us impact on both ends of the floor, if I can have that tool in my tool belt into the play-in, that's going to be a positive for this team. So I'm going to stick through this period where he's figuring it out.
Yeah, totally. If they were to find themselves in the playoffs or even in a competitive play-in situation, I think you'd want to see McDaniels out there and contributing. And honestly, I think he's the type of player they're trying to add around their roster throughout. You can see it. So they're going to want him to, continue to develop and trust him. So yeah, good to see that. I got to call you guys out on something. Did you guys discuss the new Kai hair color? I didn't know about it until he went into the game. How did this not make waves?
I did not know about this. Man, I don't think I saw it on like any G League highlight, but no, we did not talk about the Kai Jones hair color, which by the way, another underlying storyline. James Bouknight, Kai Jones, both entered the game.
I definitely forgot Bouknight was on the team.
Yeah, fans were thrilled. No, a lot of fans did not, and they were thrilled to see Bouknight when he entered because he entered before Kai Jones. Fans were standing up. They were happy. They were calling for the rookies and Bouknight specifically even before he entered the game. Misses a couple shots, but did have that awesome alley-oop to Kai Jones, little rookie-to-rookie action. So there's another one. Yes, and Kai Jones has blue hair.
Well, it matches the uniform. I don't remember seeing
it's not
that
blue. It's teal.
It's
like
teal and
it's
purple
like the teal
almost.
and purple.
Well,
great
actually, it's teal.
Well, Walker's colorblind. That's what we've figured out on this show. But here's what I'm thinking: 2,000 subscribers, little teal and purple, little on the head.
That'd be much easier.
Little
Walker.
Kai Jones?
That'd be much easier.
It would be. It's better than the face paint idea. It sounds worse. Thinking
Certainly
about
better than
it,
the execution.
it's going to be a lot better than the face paint idea. I will let you do that though. Plus, you have more hair, and you can just go ahead and cover it for the both of us. Let's just.
All right. So hey, on the
blue, half
YouTube
purple.
comments, Book's best friend says, "Forgive me, it was Lonzo who walked away from the fight." Spreading fake news on this show.
I was about to say I did not remember that LaMelo thing.
Book said he has a baby. That's his excuse. Exactly. That's right, Book.
That's fair.
You can.
Book's best friend says yes. He has a baby, or he or she has a baby. That's the excuse. You always use that excuse. That was my excuse for missing most of the game. I had to put the baby to bed. When I come back, the Hornets are up 20 all of a sudden. So great. I got to miss all of the exciting part.
They need more baby to bed games. It's good to have those. So good for you, Doug.
Yeah, fourth quarter. Yeah, it was that second quarter they separated, like got up to a 12-point lead, then 20, little bit dicey in the third, but then didn't allow it to get much worse. James Borrego, high praise for PJ Washington, doing a lot of the little things. That's your favorite thing, Doug, when you contribute outside of the box score. Defensively, though, did have his best play of the year, though. That was an awesome pin block.
How about some in the box score stats? That's what I like.
Yeah, 10 points,
blocks,
6 rebounds,
steals, some points.
There you go.
That's great.
So
Love
good
those.
stuff from PJ Washington. And then surprising, not so good game for Miles Bridges. The first, not very good game. I don't want to say it was outright bad, but first one where he wasn't awesome in this one. 4 of 12 from him, only 13 points. So Miles had been pretty hot coming in.
Well, Doug, again, didn't need him.
Yeah.
You needed him to play well in some of these previous games. It was some of the other players not stepping up. that led to some of these losses, but I mean, especially on the defensive end. But Miles Bridges has been amazing. He has been the team's leading scorer in so many of these late games. And it was nice that he got a break against the Orlando Magic and the G League team that they ran out there.
A pretty crazy plus minus range in this one. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but we had a -8 for Mason Plumlee. That was the lowest plus minus posted in this one. And then we had a plus 41 for Kelly Oubre, who played 24 minutes. So we had a -8 for Mason Plumlee and a plus 41 for Kelly Oubre. You don't see that kind of range.
Plus 41 is absolutely insane. And then when you look at the Magic bench, Hampton was -34, Schofield was -22, Ignas Brazdeikis was -27.
Big Pat called him
Devin
Brazdeikis
Cannabines
last night, and the whole arena chuckled. So we're all 12 years old.
What did he say?
He said Brazdeikis at the Spectrum Center. And so as soon as he said that, the first time Big Pat said it, everybody, it's like this soft chuckle. It's not crazy loud, but you can definitely hear it. And we're all 12.
I love it. I think in-game announcers for the away team should take every opportunity they can to use the most phallic version of someone's name.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to play that game. I know how we operate. Usually that leads us into playing a game. I don't want to play a game with pun phallic names. I don't want to do that. No, don't do it, Doug. Don't do it. Read the comments.
Maybe at 2,000 subscribers.
Yeah. Okay. That's what we'll do. No, don't do it.
OPP.
I know you're. What are the comments before we end today? What can you scroll a little bit? Are we done?
Scrolling.
Are we done?
Scrolling. Alonzo trade, maybe, Joseph says. Terry and Hayward for Lonzo. I don't know if those contract numbers stack up.
I mean, that's all right. I don't even know how
but
to
Lonzo,
that.
I've said that for a long time. Lonzo feels like a great, not just the brother thing, but like Lonzo feels like a great fit next to Melo. What Lonzo offers you.
That I was about it when that conversation was being had this offseason. I think we talked about that for like an hour, and then he was traded to Chicago. You know, there was that kind of thing out there. I was like, hey, I think you'd actually pair pretty well with LaMelo. But yeah, I don't know how you would trade for him now. I don't know how all that would work. I don't even know how to attack that.
Let's see. Sterling Ice says nobody wants to pay $200 million to Terry and Hayward for a 10 seed for 2 more years. Yeah. But then there are other people that say, hey, this would be a waste of another year if you went to Westbrook. So, I mean, the comments seem pretty evenly divided between people who say it doesn't really matter if they get Westbrook, if it frees up a bunch of cap space 2 seasons from now. And then another set that says, hey, why waste time? Which is, I think, where I fall.
Same.
Like, why waste another year?
Ultimately, it becomes to the point of, are you patient with another year of not exercising everything you can do to win next year? And are you willing to put up with, you know, some possible Russell LaMelo drama? Like, once you get past your 3rd year, you know, that's enough basis for a young star to start to draw some conclusions about the team he plays for. Like, that's when you start to see some problems, you know, like with the Zion stuff. You know, it took Luka and Zion just a couple of seasons before we got to some real problems. Like, are you willing to chance that with another possible play-in tournament appearance? This is the best thing to happen to the franchise. You got to do everything you can to take care of it. And I don't think trading for Russell Westbrook is the answer to that.
Yeah, I feel like one thing we haven't discussed around the potential Westbrook addition would be just having the LaMelo stands and the Westbrook stands in the comments. I just don't know, guy. Doug,
our comment section was fire yesterday. That was look. It's always that. It's always flaming at the same time. Last night, whew, buddy.
What's Jeremy Lin doing? Can we get him on a 10?
I'm saying maybe some Greensboro action.
Let's get them all.
Hey, one more thing before we get out of here. Right. Mo Hogner.
That'll do it for the Locked On Hornets podcast. Yeah, thanks for listening. We appreciate you listening to us. You can follow us on Twitter, Walker Mail, Doug Branson, LOH, David B. Walker, and Locked On Hornets. Now make your second listen, Locked On NBA, Locked On experts covering the biggest stories around the NBA every Monday through Friday in less than 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get your pods. Thanks to David. Thanks to you guys for joining us this Friday. Have a great weekend. We'll be back with you on Monday.